thank you both for joining us today, Tiki and Rene. I thought a good way to start, before we actually dig into the kind of the flesh and bones of this, what is a really interesting topic, I'd love if we could do 30 seconds on each of you, because Tiki, this is a pretty international audience, and for those of you that don't know, Tiki is a pretty impressive sports star from the States who's now a tech entrepreneur.
Yeah, so I spent the first half of my professional life as a football player, American football player, for the New York Giants, and I retired after the 2006 season and got into media. About 3 years after that, I co-founded Thusio, which is a marketplace for celebrities, entertainers, athletes to engage with corporate America, and now, increasingly, digital influencers to do the same.
Cool. Rene?
So I spent the first 10 years of my life in Manchester United. No, I didn't. I'm an entrepreneur, and I have been very lucky. I've been building companies the last 12, 15 years and exited 3 companies. And now I'm part of Maker Studios and Disney.
Okay. And could you give a little bit of an overview of Maker? Because it's very easy to think of Maker as just a YouTube talent agency. And I know we talked a bit about that backstage, but it's so much more. It's become this incredible media company with competitors more like Vice than the other MCNs or the other multi-channel networks.
Spot on. Absolutely. I wouldn't call us a 360 media entertainment company yet. But we're going in that direction. So we do everything from, providing technology, data, and insight platforms to talent for cultivating them and growing them, to helping them with productions, investing in formats and distribution and monetizing, and also merchandising and everything else. So it's global. We're in 13 countries, every continent in the world. So it's much more than a talent agency, although every part of our DNA is so focused on creativity and the talent.
Yeah. So the whole shebang then.
The whole shebang, yeah.
The name of your company is Maker, right? So in this space with digital talent, we've got people calling them makers, people calling them creators. We've got, I use the word influencers because I'm in the kind of media agency world, and so much budget is going towards them. And what's been interesting to me in the last year has been the growth of these stars in specific verticals, right? So you've got your gaming vertical, PewDiePie, one of your talent who's killing it. You've got beauty and fashion, Bethany Moda, Michelle Phan, who are also killing it. And there's this entire vertical around unboxing where talent or digital influencers are getting Disney toys or Star Wars toys or technology products, and they're unwrapping them and they're reviewing them in real time. And brands are paying to be there because the following are so big that the influence that those talent have on their audiences actually does move product. Why do you think that certain talent are popping online in those categories or beyond?
I think it starts with passion. I come from the sports world, so I know what passion is like, and I'm sure sportsmen in this country, in this side of the river, say the same thing. You get very passionate about it, but not everyone loves sports. Some people love gaming. Some people love fitness. That's why you see a Jen Seltzer blowing up like she is in social media. And so if you can touch someone's passion and get so many followers behind a shared goal or a shared vision, then it's worth something. And I think brands are starting to recognize that. Now, it's non-traditional for them, and so they don't quite know how to attack it. They don't know how to look at the pricing. They don't know how to look at the what return am I going to get on this, but they know it's a place that they're supposed to be, and that's what our company is trying to help them figure out.
I don't disagree. I think passion is a very important element, and all data that we have and is available out there shows very clearly that among the younger demographics, the millennials, the most single influential factor for purchasing a product is a recommendation from their peers. And a lot of the social talent, the YouTubers, are considered peers. Their audiences look at them not like we look at you, like a big star. It's not achievable for the rest of us.
You're right. It doesn't feel unattainable.
No,
it feels
exactly.
attainable. You're right.
It feels authentic, right? We're peers. I mean, if I take my oldest son, for a lunch with some of the YouTubers, the conversation you see going is like among friends. What camera did you use? How's your score in this game? They talk to each other like mates. And that's so authentic. So when PewDiePie recommends you to play a game, you actually say, of course I'm going to do that. It's like my best friend recommended me to do something.
And for that, it's funny, for that 13 to 17-year-old demo, like, these influencers are George Clooney or Eva Longoria to them. Yeah. We may not know who they are. Well, we should know who they are because we're working with them every day. But oftentimes people don't know until you're in a room with a teen and they go wild for them. But I did want to talk about authenticity, right? I mean, these influencers have grown their audiences by being themselves and by being authentic. Isn't that authenticity called into question when they're being paid to promote Samsung or American Express or Dell, and their audiences are suddenly going to their channels every Thursday at 4 p.m. and they're being pushed out by a custom content video paid for by a brand?
Yes, but what's wrong with that? That's what I always, that's my response. And authenticity is important. We see it a lot with our clients. They want the perfect match for the campaign that they're trying to put on. And on the sports realm, it's, I'll give you an example. I ran the marathon on Sunday, last Sunday. And
what was your time?
4:50.
Oh,
it wasn't great.
Did you walk?
No, I did walk a lot of it. I'm built for sprinting. I'm not built for running 26.2 miles. But I have a knee issue from my playing days. And so I did a campaign with KT Tape, which was authentic. It made sense. If it hadn't, though, it still would have made sense because of the athletic endeavor that I was taking part in. And so I think we make a big deal about authenticity, and it matters, especially when you're trying to pick the perfect talent for your campaign. But I think we're all not stupid also, and we understand that guys are going to be compensated for influencing consumers.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's also been interesting when I'm doing kind of brand deals with these influencers, and if you get the right talent to promote a certain product, their audiences are actually incredibly supportive because the audience have been following them for 5-6 years, and they're proud that this influencer now has
it's like shared success.
Brand.
Right? They want to see this person who they've big PewDiePie with 40 million followers. I'm sure they all want to see him successful. It doesn't feel like there's this hate and backstabbing, and I don't want him to, I'm not going to buy that product because I don't like him. They actually like him and want to see him be successful.
And you see it, you see it in the comments, it's the positive or negative sentiment around the video. But
I think the tape example is great, and I think we're looking at it the same way. I mean, if you look at KSI, one of our big talent with plus 10 million subscribers, he's in love with cars, right? He's promoting himself with cars, and so it's natural for us to basically provide brands that are related to cars or car brands as a promotional channel, right? But the thing is, we can never ever force any of our talent to work with any brand, or we cannot even force them to provide a message they're not completely in line with and that supports their values. And they're super alert about that. They have built their careers by consistently programming and working hard to build their audiences over 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They will not break out that for a couple of $100,000.
Yeah. So the placements have to be truly organic.
Absolutely.
So when we are matching a brand with a talent, right, I think both of you have such kind of different takes on it, right? With Thuzio, you aren't necessarily incentivized by any talent to recommend them. You're very agnostic.
Yeah, we're agnostic in that regard. I liken it to a Bloomberg terminal.
Right.
If you were going to buy a stock in that Nikon camera right there, and you wanted to know where it started, where it's been, where it's going, you'd go purchase a Bloomberg terminal. Now, if you're a brand and you want to start a campaign and you think you want to use this influencer or this influencer or this influencer, and you have the idea of substitutability with Thuzio, you come to Thuzio 360 and you investigate it. And then you make an informed purchase decision as opposed to, let's walk down this path, get there, and realize that it's the complete wrong path and then have to start over and do it again.
Whereas Maker, you have your 60,000 talent or 65,000 talent, and you presumably dip into those as a first port of call.
I mean, I would love to have that terminal. I think that's a great tool for efficiency. So I'm a big supporter of that, and how we are trying to work with our talent team is trying to work, is similar.
Exactly.
We're probably not as sophisticated as you guys are, but that's the direction we are taking. All the technology we are building around the talent and matching that with brands is exactly to your business model. Yeah. That's so important for efficiencies in order not to disappoint and prolong from brief, to production and launch. Yeah. If a talent suddenly is not interested and it doesn't fit in values with the brand.
So what are the mechanics of a brand deal? Like, what's the process? So there's a lot of brand people in the room, a lot of advertising people in the room. If they want to start leveraging influencer marketing, it's not a case of, well, sometimes it's a case that they can reach out to the talent directly, but presumably it's a lot easier to reach out via you guys. What are the mechanics?
Well, I mean, it's first of all, figuring out what you want to do, figuring out a budget, because some budgets are enormous, some are small. Some will call for a superstar, some will call for a smaller star. And figuring that out first is what we encourage our clients to do. And then the process starts. We don't actually negotiate. Sometimes we get confused for an agent. We're not an agent. We are the marketplace that allows that transaction to take place. And so in fact, if we got PewDiePie, for instance, someone was very interested, didn't know to go directly to Rene, we would connect him to Rene after we proved that he's the perfect person for the campaign. And so the process from our standpoint starts with the connection, and then we let that happen organically.
Okay. And I mean, does this work? Like in terms of measurement, right? So if I have a media budget, say I've got a quarter for
That's
media
the biggest
budget.
question in marketing, man.
Does
it work?
50% of my media spend is wasted for 50%, right? But if I've got a budget and I'm trying to figure out, do I want to do display buy, banner buy, or do I want to do influencer marketing for quarter four? What is the typical return on investment, or how do you actually measure the effectiveness?
I mean, look at New York Times best-selling book list this week, right? What's number one? That's PewDiePie's new book, right? When he played Skate 3, a game EA had out of production, they had to reproduce it. Zoella, when she launched her book last Christmas in the UK, it was the fastest growing book ever in the history of launching books around Christmas. So these people are making a significant difference. This is just ROI on selling products. Of course, if you go further up in the funnel and look at branding and trying to create some kind of loyalty to brands, it's different measurements, and you're the specialist on measuring that. I'm providing you with all the data, but you're the one who have to put it together and make a compelling offer to your clients.
I'll have it on your desk by Friday.
Good, thank you.
And with Zoella and PewDiePie, taking them offline, so taking them into the real world, live tours, merchandising, even getting on traditional TV versus online. What's the aspiration for these creators typically?
I mean, it's different.
Yeah.
So some of them want to build franchise formats. They don't believe they will be themselves forever the face of their channel. That's a great strategy. We're working with lots of our talent on that. Others want to build sub-network, so like mini MTVs or mini Let's Play categories. That means we're aggregating other young and upcoming talent in under their brand, and therefore we're building a network for them. And others have inspiration to go to TV and do TV shows, comedy, animations, etc. It's very, very different. What is clear is, compared to 2-3 years ago, that they're extremely focused and ambitious around what they want to be. And we are facilitating and helping them to become that, and investing lots of money in them. I mean, we're investing in original productions, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think the idea of talent as a brand is relatively new. Some people have been doing it exceptionally well. David Beckham, we talked about this backstage. LeBron James, when he was 18 years old, he was thinking about his brand and how he could associate it with other brands, consumers and otherwise. Nowadays, everybody thinks that they have their own brand, and they actually do. So how do you grow and monetize that is something that is important, I think, for digital influencers, certainly for athletes who look to take that next step in their career, whether it's to get into broadcasting or to do some other product that they have an idea about. Branding is so important now, much more so now because of social media than it's ever been, because you can reach out to your friends directly and help them make a purchasing decision to the first question that you ask about getting a recommendation from someone they feel close to.
Yeah. So it really is the case now, if you have a smartphone and a connection, you can be a star and you can have influence and you can ultimately get some sort of
you're good enough.
If you're good enough. So if we were to meet back here next year, what do you think we'd be talking about in this space? Where's it all going? Because it's from a revenue and a kind of trajectory perspective, it seems to only be on the increase.
I think we will definitely see what you're touching upon, new brands coming up from these social influencers and sports talent. That's going to be bigger and bigger.
Okay.
Second thing is the content quality and originals coming from the talent that I work with will increase dramatically.
Okay.
I mean, we're investing a lot of money into original content on different platforms, distributed on different platforms, of course, because there's more and more emerging platforms that our influencers are using. So that's going to be another trend that you definitely will see.
Yeah, I think you're going to see smaller brands also, whether it's a mom and pop or we like to say our clients are from the banker to the bakery, right? I think you're going to see smaller brands being able to engage with talent, influencers as well, because of the platforms like ours that are being developed to engage with them. The price is obviously significantly lower, and that works perfectly for a small business as opposed to some of these, the Anheuser-Busch's or the Coca-Colas of the world who have unlimited budgets. Small businesses need to market too, and it's being enabled, and I think we're going to see that in mass in the coming year.
That's a good point. We're seeing that already. Yeah.
Interesting. I have two more short questions because I'm conscious of our time. It's getting close to zero.
That's like the hook.
That was my call to get off stage. Periscope and Meerkat, for your creators, your talent, do you think live streaming is a fad or is it going to stick around?
No, I think it's a very exciting area in the Let's Play category and esports category. It's already happening. I mean, we have, 200 million fans worldwide watching esports, and that's live platforms. So we definitely believe in live platforms, whether it's Twitch or new ones.
Jonathan Lindahl, right? He got a scholarship to Robert Morris College to play video games.
Yeah.
Think about that, right?
It's every parent's worst nightmare.
I busted.
If everyone here is going home or even on their mobile devices, who's the one talent, who is the rising star to you? Who's the one person we should be watching out for that 2016 is going to be really, really big? What do you think?
This is your area of expertise. You tell me, and I'll look.
You're not allowed to say PewDiePie.
No, I'm not going to say PewDiePie. I think it depends which, for our young daughter, it'll be Peppa Pig, that is just growing and growing and growing, right, as a franchise. In the
Peppa,
US.
George, Mama.
Exactly.
Mama,
and then we have Mr. Kate in fashion in the US, trying to build a brand like Martha Stewart, just more authentic. So you see lots of them coming up. I can't predict it.
I think it goes back to whatever your passion is sitting in this room, right? Let's not forget, Justin Bieber was discovered via YouTube, basically. YouTube.
I will say, I'm going to answer my own question because. Pardon? Sana O'Neill. I don't know that person. Oh. Okay, that's interesting.
Should be forgotten in 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's a good one. And another one is Arcadia's Cool. They're a really interesting Irish creator. They're a father and son who review toys online, and they're part of your network. But they were living from Poland, and now they're in Middle Ireland, and they are doing really well in terms of views and engagements, and it's just very compelling. So you should check it out. Arcadia's Cool. But Tiki, Rene, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and thank you guys.
After you.